Though this nation has proudly thought of itself as an ethnic melting pot, in things racial, we have always been, and we, I believe, continue to be, in too many ways, essentially a nation of cowards. Though race-related issues continue to occupy a significant portion of our political discussion, and though there remain many unresolved racial issues in this nation, we, average Americans, simply do not talk enough with each other about things racial.
Racially charged comments lead to an officer resigning.
The comments came during a traffic stop, and now charges against the three men pulled over have been dropped.
Do you understand, and I'm not saying this in a condescending way, you're smarter than I am, sure, but do you understand what the New York Times wants and the far left want? They want to break down the white Christian male power structure of which you're a part, and so am I, and they want to bring in millions of foreign nationals to basically break down the structure that we have. In that regard, Pat Buchanan is right.
We are cowardly when you compare us to other arenas of expertise and pursuit in America. We are not willing to be second to anybody when it comes to the space race, when it comes to technology, when it comes to this failed economy, unfortunately, but when it comes to our sense of competition. But when it comes to race, we lag far behind. We don't have the ability to step up to the plate and be honest about all of the array of problems that we continue to confront. Now, many people think that we live now in a post-racial society because of President Barack Obama's ascendancy to the highest office in the land. That is just not true. Neither should we be. We shouldn't be post-racial. Okay. We should be post-racist. We should look beyond the day when narrow impediments and blind bigotries continue to impede us from moving forward in this nation. You know, you say you want honest conversation, and Mr. Barnacle started the conversation. What happens when we white guys speak honestly about race? Well, I'll tell you what happens. When you speak honestly about race, you tell the truth about what you feel. All of us should be allowed to do that. The question is, when we put our bona fides on the table, when we establish what we think are the baselines for racial conversation in America, we have to be honest and willing to say, hey, maybe we didn't get it right. Maybe white supremacy, social injustice, the owning of slaves, Jim Crow law, and vicious bigotry have not led to the best experiment in democracy. Hold on. And what we must do now is to acknowledge that and then move forward. It's not so when black people tell the truth, then white feelings of guilt and offense come about.
Okay, let me tell some truths. White folks in America are not responsible for the 70% illegitimacy rate in the black community. We are not responsible for the fact that African Americans commit crimes at 7 times the rate of white Americans. We are not responsible for the fact that many more children in the African American community, 75%, are born out of wedlock, as I said. All of these things are the responsibility of the African American community, and its leaders should address the problems in their own community.
According to you, the entire problem of racial fascism in this country rests upon the backs of black people. You have not owned up to, at one point in this conversation, the reality that the dominant American culture has fed and fueled the vicious divisiveness that we continue to confront. So now you're trying to scapegoat.
You continue to blame, look, the African American community
I'm not blaming anybody. But when black people talk about honest feelings as blaming, when white people talk about it, it's called being held responsible.
Well, look,
you don't want to be responsible. You don't want to be responsible. Professor Dyson begins with Eric Holder was right. This nation must live up to the true meaning of its right, and we must engage in some serious analysis of what is going wrong in the country. If we can't be honest about that, many black people are used to hearing negative things about themselves every day in the press. Many white people are not. It's time that we share the burden and redistribute the pain, and all of us engage in a convincingly open, cogent explanation about why we are where we are racially, and Eric Holder has done that with his brilliant comment.
I think, Professor, you got to take a little more responsibility for your own community.
Brother, we've been responsible. What I need to hear you talk about is responsibility for what America has done to so many, not only African American people, Native peoples, First Indigenous people, and then all of us can move toward a society where we eat pluribus.
No better country on earth for African people than America.
We gotta go.
No better country.
We love America. That's why we have a black president.
And that's why we're not a nation of cowards, Professor Dyson.
I loved it even before
that. Well, you know what? Here's my point. My point is simply this. The election of one black man in public housing on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue will not solve the problems of the nation. Barack Obama understands that. The rest of us should understand that too. It's an enormous move forward, but we still have work to be done. That's all we're suggesting. It's both and, not either or.
Michael Eric Dyson.
I think you do have work to be done, and we have work to be done. I agree with that.
And Pat Buchanan.
I have a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today